Hello, some buddies. Thank you for stumbling on our channel. I am Mr. Mafuchi, and with me, as always, is my co-host. It's the only kind of way he walks. Here's Jay.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
So, on today's topic, if you didn't check the thumbnail, it's going to be about being right or being happy. Now, again, you may ask, well, what makes you guys marriage pros and be able to talk about this? Well, 20 years of marriage between us and some change. And believe it or not, the change does matter. It's not just 10 plus and then, oh, it's easy from there. No. For most of you that are about to get to 10, you're going to realize it doesn't just go uphill or downhill. Depending on you, it stays the same. But with this topic, being right or being happy, we're going to find out a lot about one another and also about the marriages you are included in. But definitely, Jay and I are very outspoken about these things because believe it or not, no matter how good your marriage is, I'm sure you're going to run into a conflict between you and your loved one, and believe it or not, you're not going to agree on it. So this is going to be oodles of fun, I think. I'm sure most of you are going to come across all these situations, all these topics, and either you're going to agree with Jay, you're going to agree with me, and if you don't agree with either, well, hi ladies, we know you're watching too. You want to make sure to study the enemy as well. So, being right, being happy. If anything, Jay, we could just go across maybe the last, let's call it, disagreement we've had in our marriages. So, why don't you start us off?
The last disagreement we had, it's more about when we watch something in particular. I won't get into too much of the details. Kind of my wife would not appreciate me doing all that, but it was a certain topic that came up where she saw one certain thing one way because of the way she was raised. I didn't look at it that way. So we went back and forth about explaining our beliefs or what our reasoning was for it. And no matter what I said, it was like, no, it's what it is. So that's one of those things I'm like, okay, I'm not going to win this one, so I'm just going to let this go and let you have it. I said my piece, we're not going to agree. So it's like, okay, so we keep it pushing.
So, in broaching this subject a little more, you mentioned that at some point you just realized, okay, her foot is firmly planted. She is not going to move. It's going to be a whole Gandalf situation. You shall not pass. So again, is it a split-second decision, or do you really have to mull it over a little bit to realize, I'll let her have it?
No, it's more about like I can tell how passionate she is, like her volume level, her animation. When I see her doing all that, like, okay, yeah, there's no changing her mind. She's stubborn when it comes to certain things, and this thing's like, yeah, I'm not giving in to this one. So I said, okay, we're going to call it a day on that one.
So, would you say in the 10 plus years that you've had, you kind of sense it, and then you're like, okay, this is just not going to happen. No matter what I say, I could even be as right as rain. The light of God could shine down upon me, and nonetheless, hey, you just know. And this is just with experience and years of marriage, correct?
Correct, yeah. So we've known each other for almost 20 years or plus, 20 plus years. So around that time, it's like you just know that person. It's not anything in particular, it's just that feeling you get. Us having these type of conversations, I know when we go back and forth, it's like if I see her foot is planted and she's passionate about a particular topic, there is no changing her mind. You have to show facts. I mean, facts that she's 100% wrong. Even if she is 100% wrong, she's not going to admit it. So I let her have that one.
All right, we have it official, ladies. I know you're watching as well. He let her have it, okay? It was not worth crossing the bridge and realizing this is going to collapse on us halfway through. So, ladies, just realize also, we'll let you have some. And men, it's not easy to let them have it, but sometimes we do have to eat crow. Now, in my situation, believe it or not, the recent situation just happened about an hour ago. So today, we decided that our son, our oldest son, it was time to get him a phone. And now I'm with Verizon, and they just promote the ads. Oh, free phones, free iPhones. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take advantage of this. So we get them the phone, everything's set. We get back, and since wifey was not a part of the selecting or of the phone, she wanted to at least be able to get the case going on. Now, here's the thing about the case. I understand paying for quality, but these cases are a little more than quality in my opinion because it's about a $70 case. Now, it better grant me a couple wishes or give me some kind of wizard wand for me to realize it's going to be worth it. But the fact is, she's already biased on one company, $70 out the door. I'm just thinking in my head, alright, I have on my phone probably half of that, even less. That'll protect it just fine. I've had it for a couple of years. So now we're going back and forth. She's like, quality, 70, just let me have it. And when it comes to money, I am not just going to lay down because I'm the one that budgets. So I have to realize, okay, I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't have to be this way. There's other companies that have been around for quite longer. And what is the company's called? Casetify or Cassetify, whatever it is. It's too damn expensive in my opinion. You can create your case. You can put the art whatever you want. I don't care. Half the money, it protects it. It's fine. So we just continue back and forth, and I realize, same thing. She's not going to let it go. But at the same time, I have to realize this is the part that she can be involved with. So about an hour later, I finally realize, all right, I guess it doesn't matter to me as much. You can have this as well. Because quite frankly, if I just really cared about it, I would have just went the whole night. And that would have been it. We would have probably talked about it the next day, but no. At this point, 10 plus years and whatnot, you have to realize when you're done, and there's a phrase and adage that's kind of stuck with me, and I forget where I got it from, but will it matter in 10 minutes? And this one, unfortunately, after the hour, I finally realized, will it matter in 10 more minutes? So I let it be, and she's going to get the case, but luckily for me, she did get a discount, so instead of $70, it's $68.99, so they dropped a buck and whatever. But nonetheless, sometimes you really have to figure out where to go from there. So like you, Jay, I mean, we kind of know. We kind of realize when the shoe is just dropped on us. And we're done. And ultimately, we just live to fight another day, right?
Yeah, but I have a question. Is there something wrong with the ones on Amazon? They have cheap phone covers there. Does it have to be this expensive phone?
Don't get me started. You're preaching to the choir. I go to Amazon for everything. And I work for a company that does not like Amazon. Well, screw it. Amazon has great deals, and guess what? They'll get it to me the next day. So yes, I go to Amazon. Amazon, everything. It's great quality. Hell, the cover that I get, the company is OtterBox. They've been around for a long time. But I can't customize. I can't design. I don't care. It protects my phone. I've dropped that thing so many times. The case may be scuffed, but the phone is fine. And that's what should matter, right, Jay?
Yeah, I just $70. I'm like you. I don't like to spend money like that. I do budgeting, but we have our own different accounts, so that's a different thing. She make her money, I make my money. We just split bills, stuff like that. But when it comes to the kids, we do everything 50-50. It's like I'm like, give me the least expensive thing, as long as it works. I understand you want to pay for certain type of quality, but not for a phone case. If it's a computer, yes. Monitor, yes. TV, yes. A phone case, no.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying as well. Again, Amazon protects it well, half the price. Now again, I did go to get him a phone because I knew I was going to get it for free. That's fine. It's an Apple, and Apple is a good product, so I want to protect it, but I know I can get it for less than 70. I could get it for less than half, and it'll still protect it just fine. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we both caved in. So that's all we got to say about that. Men, take that for what it is. I'm sure you've had this situation as well. It could be a big topic. It could be something minuscule. But ultimately, that's just the life we lead. So now, Jay, it gets into the other situation of the topic, being right. Now, we both know that when that situation comes up, being right does come with the other side changing their complete mood. They may give us a cold shoulder, or whatever the case may be. So, if you can recall, Jay, the last time you were right and you had to pay the price.
Well, I don't have to pay the price. My wife does not like to admit when she's wrong, and I'm right. And when she says you were right, I'm like, what? Come again? One more time. I just want to hear it. And she'll kind of make a face and kind of, you're right. The last time she said, I forgot what it was about. But one thing I do know that came to mind is when we were dating, and for whatever reason, she thought my legs were big. Like, I'm a slim person. I'm like, guys' legs are not slim. I mean, they're not thick. They're not big. If you're a thin person, they're not going to be big. So her thighs are bigger than mine. And I said, okay, let's sit here next to each other, right? As a woman, she was wearing like tighter pants than I was, right? So I'm wearing jeans. So I kind of fold my jeans down right around my legs. And she was like, oh, your legs are smaller than mine. I'm like, yes. I'm like, that shouldn't have been in doubt. I don't know where you got that from. So in that instance, I was right. But we were dating, so it's like, it's not a big deal. But later on, she brought that Steve Harvey book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. So I'm like, you don't need to read this book. I'm a guy. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. Men are simple creatures. And she, even to this day, she does not believe we're simple creatures. Like, we don't want a lot. We want, I'll put that last. We want food, we want to watch our sports, and sex. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want too much more outside of that. You know, you can put sex first, but whatever.
Yes, that is correct. Ladies, again, and for the men that really don't know, that you think you're a little more than that, Jay just broke it down. Fetus, coitus, and then fetus again. Why not? Hey, that's just for me. But we are simple creatures. That's just how it is.
No, I had another one. It was about a nail, where the nails grow and at what length it grows to, like the base of it. So pretty much, my wife thought it grew a certain way at a certain point. I was like, no, it grows from this point. And she was like, no, that's not possible. I was like, I think she came back to me like a few days later. I was like, oh, you were right. What? What? So whenever she says I'm right, I like to hear it more because I don't get that as often. So when she likes to admit that I've been right, I'm like, yes, tell me like you love me. Yes, tell me.
Well, at least she says you're right. In my situation, whenever I'm right, she says, well, you're not wrong. And ultimately, because when she realizes that she could be wrong, she uses this phrase, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying prove it to me. And this happens a lot when it comes to movies and musicians, where she thinks it's a certain celebrity or a certain musician. I have to let her know, no, that's not it. I won't say I'm wrong because I have to prove it, number one. I have to go, and everyone goes on Google. Come on, let's just say it, everyone. We don't go by memory anymore. It's lax. Our memory is just gone because we have Google. So we all go on Google, we check it out, and I put it right in her face because that's the only satisfaction I get. And she says, okay, you're not wrong. So I don't think I've heard I'm right since we were dating. So I'm glad at least for the missus on your end, she'll at least say that word because that's a tough one.
Well, we just have that understanding because she knows, like, because she's the smart one out of us. So
Wow.
when I am right, I'm like, just let me have it. Just let me have it since she's more right than not. So when I'm right, I just kind of want to hear it. Stroke my ego a little bit.
Now, I just realized another question to ask her. How about when it comes to the children? Those situations come up as well. I'm sure, because you two are different parents. Sure, you're going to stick together like military. But sometimes, hey, you may go one way, but maybe behind the scenes you talk about it afterwards. And maybe you say, I think I had more of a point. I'm sure that's happened to you, right, Jay?
Yeah, when it comes to the kids, though, we like say with one of them because some I think my youngest one he always goes and say, "Can I do this?" or "Can I do that?" And first thing one of us will say like, what did your father say? What did your mother say? Or like, what did the other parents say? And then they'll say this like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's the way it's gonna go. If I say no and then she goes say yes, it's like we didn't discuss, we didn't what's going on here. Like we're now on the same page. So when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to the kids, it's like, okay, what did the other parents say? We're gonna go with that, and then we'll discuss afterwards, depending on what the question was that the kid asked or what did they want.
Now that your boy is smart because he's already trying to break up the alliance. He's already asking one and the other, hoping that he probably goes to the first one that he feels is the strongest, and then goes to the second one, which will probably change his mind. So I kind of appreciate that from your son there. Now on my end, we have two boys. She's a woman, okay? I'm putting it out there, lady. She's a woman. I'm a man. I know about boys. I have an idea of how to raise them. So sometimes I may not say please when I ask them to do something, but most times I try to. But please only goes the first time. If I have to repeat myself again, hey, that's your screw up. Because I was polite the first time. After that, I expect you to get it done now. And that's just how I try to go about it with my boys. Because they have to learn, number one, you should get it right the first time. That way I don't get on your case. And then don't give me attitude when I get on your case. You have the choice. You have the option. You made the decision not to do it the first time. So, yeah, my tone of voice can get a little louder. But it's only because I'm trying to let them know. If you don't want it to escalate this far, then hey, do it the first time. I may know a thing or two, being a boy, of how to raise them, but again, I was raised by a single mother, so I am a mama's boy, no doubt. But I'm just trying to influence the masculinity in this situation with my boys. And sometimes my wife doesn't see it that way. Again, she's not averse to raising her voice either. I think our neighbors could hear it, and I'm just not talking about neighbors of houses. Neighbors are counties. So when she gets up there with her voice, she goes that way too. But sometimes she gets on my case, letting me know you probably should not have raised your voice for that reason. But I can't say anything to her about when she raises her voice because she's usually right. But that's just how it is with our kids. So now the question that I have here, Jay, this for me has been a bone of contention, is Mother's Day. What do you do when it's Mother's Day? Do you celebrate with your mother? Do you celebrate with the missus? Or do they get along where you can celebrate with both of them at the same time?
Well, like my mom is out of state, so
No.
and her mom is like an hour and a half away from us.
Right.
Yeah, hour and a half away from us. So usually it's just like we'll just celebrate with my wife. It'll be me, my wife, and the kids. We'll all go out, go to dinner, go to lunch, do stuff like that, and then yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, we'll go we'll go out and celebrate and do that, and then um, I'll call my mother-in-law or text my mother-in-law, reach out to my mom, my grandmother, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty much a staying house since we're kind of far away from our families.
Yeah, that wasn't the case in my household. So my mother and my wife did not get along from jump, and I think I deduced at this point on they were too much alike. So that essentially played a role. And now when my mom was here, she's since passed. Uh, there was a situation from once my wife became a mother, realizing my mom wanted me to just spend time with her because it's Mother's Day. Now, there's plenty of ways to go about this because, yes, it is Mother's Day and the child should spend it with their mother. But now, another wrinkle is my wife is also a mother. She's not my mother, but she's my son's mother. So I have to figure out I celebrate with my mother, but I have to celebrate with my wife who's a mother, and I can't bring them together. So up until my mom passed, I would just celebrate with my mother. And my wife would let me know about it each and every time. So that was definitely a situation every single year that I would hear about. But again, not my fault they couldn't get along. Not my fault they were so much the same person that they couldn't come together even for me. So that was a situation that I always had. That was a situation where I'm not even sure if I was right, but I know I definitely wasn't happy at the end of the day. So at this point, I think this concludes the show, and just realize that for all you out there, all you couples, married couples, of course, even if you're single, hey, whoever's watching, we enjoy it. There's always going to be a point where you're going to get face to face with each other because you have opposing views. But if you really love the person, you have to just try to figure it out. And like we started the show, Jay and I know when we're already beat, when we're not trying to allow that dragon to come out of them and just shoot that flame at us and just burn us to a crisp. We understand that. We understand that look. We understand that feel. So, again, Jay, do you have any final parting wisdom that you could lay on all these viewers, even our one viewer, if that's the case, and let them know what to do from that point on and what could be the number one thing to look for if this situation arises?
Well, I'll say if you are in a good, healthy relationship, it's not a bad thing to go back and forth and state your point of what you believe. If you believe it, hey, more power to you. But if it's going to damage the relationship, I would say concede. Um, if it's something you really, really, truly believe in, go ahead and fight for it. But if it's at the detriment to your relationship, it's not worth it.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with Jay's comments right there and wisdom. The only thing I could add on to it is that no matter how bad it's getting, no matter how much it escalates, you have to stay in there. You have to stick with it because you're trying to come to some kind of compromise. You're trying to just be understood. But the last thing that will happen if you leave is none of you will be understood. You have to just stay in there, stick with it, especially if you love that person. And it will ultimately just work itself out. Even if you have to concede, or the other person has to concede and never say you're right in my situation, that's fine. But you just gotta hang in there, everybody. And with that said, just let us know in the comments again if you have any topics that you'd like for us to talk about, because we will definitely, we read the comments and we will talk about it. And also let us know if you enjoy Jay being formal with the suit and tie, because this is definitely a big surprise for me and I like it. I like to see my boy there dressed up. So just let us know if you want to see more of that, and if so, what kind of color combinations. So as you can see, ladies, he's the eye candy. He's styling and profiling at all times. So with that said, this is the Marriage Pros. And as always, we will be here weekly. And also, if you want to just hear us and not look at us, you can listen to us on Spotify. We will make that available as well. So again, until next week, I'm not sure if Jay will have this color combination on yet, but he will definitely be suited and tied once again. So for next time, we just say adieu.
Later.